Hello there everybody and welcome to the Mr. Sin channel. In this video, we're going to be looking at the hypodermic needle theory. We're going to be analyzing this theory's view on the media and its relationship with the audience. So this theory was developed in the 1920s and the 1930s. And what it looks at is the audience's relationship with the media. Now, this theory puts a lot of power with the media. It believes that the media is almost like a drug. They're going to be injecting the audience with what they want them to believe. And the audience is just going to be passively taking it. They will absorb the information that's coming at them, and then they will accept it and react to it. Here, the audience is very gullible. The audience is like a sponge. They just soak up what they're told. The media is almost like shooting the information into them, like a gun or a syringe. They inject the information into the audience, they accept it right away as fact, and then they react to it. Now, this is an older way of looking at how we see the relationship between the media and the audience, but for some people, they still believe that it's prevalent today. Now, originally, this theory was looking at the relationship between propaganda and the people who were consuming it. It was looking particularly during wartime, when we would see propaganda images around society, and trying to see how that relationship worked. How receptive were people who were perceiving this propaganda, and were they acting on it and believing it without necessarily thinking about it? Over time, it's slowly but surely kind of lost credibility as other theories have kind of taken more of the forefront of the mainstream. However, some people still reference this theory when looking at advertisers or violent video games and their impact on people. If you're interested in some of those topics, make sure to check out some of the other videos on the channel. You can click the card on the top right now to check out my video on violent video games and violence in society. Also, if you're finding value again, maybe consider subscribing. So again, this theory believes that the audience is very passive. Now, some people have connected it to advertisements and their ability to persuade people on what they want to buy. An example of this theory in action today could be, let's say you're watching TV and you see an ad for Chipotle. Now, you really like Taco Bell, but the ad is saying how you should always be eating Chipotle, and Chipotle is where everyone is at, and that's what would make you cool and all these fun things. And you decide that you don't want to get Taco Bell anymore, you now want Chipotle. Here, you, even though originally did not want Chipotle, you like Taco Bell, change your mind just because of what the media is telling you to. There's a direct connection, and then you react to it. This would be an example of this theory in action. One of the first big examples of this theory in action was Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. This radio broadcast created a panic throughout the United States. People believed that the United States was under attack by aliens, and that aliens were going to all these major cities and destroying everyone. 911 started getting flooded with calls. People fled their homes. Thousands of Americans panicked, and hysteria set through the country. This was, for a lot of people, evidence that this theory is correct. People received this message through the radio that the world was under attack by aliens and that the United States was being destroyed. And they panicked. They believed it and ran. Now, at the same time, though, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people just took it as a story, which is what it was supposed to be. It was a fun radio broadcast. And so they didn't. They thought for themselves. They didn't react to it. And so some people also look at that as saying, look, this theory doesn't work. It worked on some people, but the majority of Americans did not flee their homes or take shelter or start panicking and calling 911, even though thousands of them did. But in the overall scheme of things, majority did not. So this theory has lost credibility over time, but it's important to understand because it still comes up every now and again in modern day society. This was a really quick look at the hypodermic needle theory, but hopefully it gave you a good understanding of what the theory says, how it views the audience and the media, who has the power, and a couple different examples of it in action. Hopefully you found value in the content here. If you did, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Also, don't forget to check out some of my other media theories on the channel. I'm Mr. Sin, and until next time, I'll see you online.